Hello VC, it's Dennis back here with probably gonna be the last video before Christmas. Recording this, I'm gonna upload it here on the 9th. I wasn't expecting to get anything else other than a smattering of, maybe Vinyl Me Please and stuff like that, nothing I would want to do a video on. But I actually just got a record in the mail today, and then one of my local record stores is kind of blowing out inventory. Get ready for some improvements in their store and whatnot. So went over there over the weekend, got a couple of interesting items, I'd say. And so I just wanted to start out first with this new item. I actually just got in the mail this afternoon. I just grabbed it a few minutes ago when I got home from work. And let me know in the comments if you have seen this show or not. It is currently on Netflix, I believe, at least here in the United States. So this is the soundtrack to the anime A Silent Voice. Has some sort of like an Obi strip here on the bottom. So you can't actually see the track names, but we're gonna guess they're Japanese anyways. So for any of those that are unfamiliar with the anime, it's from Kyoto Animation, which was the animation studio in Japan. Was it earlier this year? Was firebombed. A lot of lives were lost. A lot of animation was lost. But this came out. The soundtrack is brand new. It just got released here in the last week or so. But the movie it originally started out as a I don't know if it was serialized or not, but it was in like 6 manga volumes. We'll just say if you're a fan of anime, you should probably see this. Even if you're not a fan, but you can stand Japanese animation, you really should watch this. It's heart wrenching. It's heartbreaking. It's certainly not a feel good story. Let me tell you that. It I watched this and another show on Netflix called I think it's called Anahara. 2 weekends in a row, and it just left me just a hollow shell of a human. But basically, just kind of just to hit the kind of the high level story. It's about a kid who is a bit of a he doesn't seem so much as a bully to start the series out. But a girl transfers into their school who is deaf. And of course nobody knows sign language, so the parents send her to school with a notebook, so that she can write in, and then the kids can write in. They can kind of have some sort of a conversation, and the kid, the guy in the story, he's going through a lot of shit, like you can imagine. I can't remember exactly what, but it causes him to have kind of the wrong attitude, and becomes mean to the girl, and eventually she transfers school, and then the story picks up 10 years later or whatever, when they're in like a middle or high school sort of scenario, and it kind of picks up from there. It's really it's beautiful art. The soundtrack is amazing. That's why I got this. And really, I do implore you to go watch it. Just make sure to have some tears handy, or whatever. It's rough, but so I'm not gonna open it right here because I don't have sleeves handy. I have a bunch of stuff piled up on that for Christmas, but it's really heavy duty. It feels really nice. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like they did a really good job with this. So yeah, that's Silent Voice, the movie. The original soundtrack is shaped late by Kensuke Yoshio. Um, I don't know what else to say about that one. Let's set that down. Now, the shop that's blowing out all these records. I had I heard something in the morning as I was getting ready for work, um, and I would have sworn, it was just it was a simple ad, nothing fancy or anything, and all I heard were all records $5, a partial address, and just before the underpass or overpass, whatever it is. Excuse me, the cups. Um, and I go, well, I know there's a record store right there. I thought, it's December. If they're gonna close up shop, probably before a new year, before a new lease or something might start. So I made a point to go over there on Saturday afternoon. And went in, I was talking to the guy, and they're not closing, just they have so much inventory. And, they wanna do a few more things to the shop, and it's really small. I've talked about the place before. I picked up a Dire Straits and a Supertramp album there once before. But at one point they had like a Thriller album for $40, or a real beat up copy of Queen's The Game for $30, where a lot of the foil had completely rubbed off. And there's some stuff there, like some of the jazz stuff was expensive, but for all I know, it might be worth it. I'm not exactly the high end jazz, but everything that was, well, yeah, pretty much everything that was there was $5. They had some stuff on the wall that would just, some of the nicer normal stuff. But so these are what I ended up picking up. Some aren't fancy, but they're all, the covers might be beat up or might have hole punches in them, but the wax itself generally looks good. There's a couple that have some light scratches kind of across the length of it, but it looks very much surface. It doesn't look like it's gonna cause a whole lot of problems, or with the album itself. It's loud enough where it's not gonna make too much of a difference, in my opinion. So first off, one of the more interesting ones, and I gotta say, I scored what some people might call a Grail. I'm not super familiar with the album other than seeing it around the VC. But I was shocked to pick it up for $5. Let me tell you that, and I'm gonna say that one for last. When I saw this one, that definitely piqued my interest. It's for the first annual benefit concert of the Congressional Black Caucus, recorded in September of 1974 in Maryland, featuring War, Curtis Mayfield, Kool and the Gang, and guest appearances by Gladys Knight and the Pips and Jimmy Witherspoon. Yeah, it's a benefit concert. It doesn't actually have the track listing on the back, but I'm going to take it out because, surprisingly, you can notice the logo on the very bottom. It's by Chess Records, which I did not realize Chess did albums like this. So you have Wild and the Peaceful by Kool and the Gang, performed by Kool and the Gang. Give Me Your Love by Curtis Mayfield, that's done by Curtis Mayfield. It's weird in here because it has like where it's performed at and the owners, and instead of having a nice 1, 2, 3, it's like 1, 2, 3. Got On and On by Curtis Mayfield, and performed by Gladys Knight and the Pips. Let's see, is there a fourth song on here? Doesn't look like it. And this was distributed by GRT of Canada. So even though it was for the first Congressional Black Caucus in the United States, and put out by Chess, it was actually on a Canadian label, I guess. So and then you got Gypsy Man, performed in concert by War. Let's see here. Going Down Slow by Witherspoon, performed by Jimmy Witherspoon. And that looks like that's about it. So it looks like there's about 5 songs on here. I'm a fan of funk music and, this era of, I guess you call it soul music, right? With like Curtis Mayfield and Kool and the Gang. So, that was a pleasant surprise. Next up, everybody knows this album, right? Supertramp, Breakfast in America. It's from A&M Records, Canadian pressing. Almost all of these are going to be Canadian because, the store's in Canada. And then this is, has the kind of iconic label on it too. This one, the cover's a little bit beat up on it, but the other copy that I found there had a better cover, but worse vinyl, and I didn't feel like switching them out. This is actually for my girlfriend's sister for Christmas. It's a Footloose soundtrack. She's a big Footloose fan. Figure $5. The record's in good shape too. She doesn't have a record player, but figure she wants to frame it or put it on her wall somehow. That's fine. I don't really care. And in my Baez collection, and here's an example of kind of how they're overpriced a little bit. So it's still partially in the shrink. First of all, Joan Baez recently. I'm going to cover up the old price tag on it here. This is one from the 80s, I believe. But I think it's this shrink wrap 80s. He was trying to charge $22 for a fairly modern Joan Baez album. But again, $5. It's Joan Baez. Can't really go wrong. This one has a little bit of like water damage, looks like in the corner. But I love this band. It's the Irish Rovers, the Unicorn from MCA. Features Goodbye Mrs. Durkin, Black Velvet Band, Bunny Killswater, Come In. I think this has kind of a fancier label on it too. Well, no, but just a Rainbow MCA. Getting near the end of her. Picked up a couple more Uriah Heep albums. First of all, I got Salisbury. Some fancy ass art on the back. Yep, made in Canada. I believe this has the original inner sleeve in it too. Or, nah. Unless the inner sleeve is blank. And then got another Uriah Heep, Sweet Freedom. 1973. Again, $30. I don't know if that's worth it or not. But, I would have bought it for $30. I'm not that big of a Heap fan yet. On this Chrysalis label. This one I almost missed. It was in a like a pile. Somebody had stacked up. I don't know if they had just gone through it and haven't like filed it, even though it's only vaguely alphabetical. It was one of the few Alice Cooper albums I really wanted. I like Alice Cooper, but I haven't been exposed to like a ton of his stuff, mostly just his hits. So, Welcome to Your Nightmare. Again, $35, but $5 for the sale. This of course says Welcome to Your Nightmare, Only Women Bleed, Department of Youth. With the price special guests on it. It does have the original lyrical inner sleeve. I don't think there's anything super fancy. No, just normal Atlantic. Red and green. And I just noticed now there's a tiny little seam split, but not bad enough to worry about. Now this one, the jacket's kind of messed up. Looks like it's been well loved. But this is uh, what I would consider to be the Grail um, of the hall. I wasn't expecting to find it here. Um, I think I missed out on it at the other record shop without realizing what it was. I think I saw it in the bins and passed on it then because it looks weird, right? But from 1977, from Elektra / Asylum, Television, Marquee Moon. I believe, I haven't looked up in Discogs yet, but by every indication, I mean, the cover's pretty rough. There's a on the spine here. It's well worn. I believe it's an original Canadian pressing. On that Butterfly Electra. And I gotta tell you guys, I don't have great lighting in here, but I don't even know if I need to wash this thing. It looks minty fresh. Well, there's a little bit of a surface scratch, a little bit of a scuff on looks like the A side. But yeah, Marquee Moon. I honestly didn't think I'd be able to find a decent original copy of this. I sampled it, and it's not bad. But let alone being able to find one for $5. I mean, by all accounts, it looks like it's going to play well. Even on that like surface scratch, surface scuff, I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. It looks real light. Like it's noticeable when you look at it, but it's not deep or anything. It looks like just like a piece of dust got in the sleeve at some point or something. So that's it for me. Like I said, I kind of wish I could get back over there because they have both stuff on the top and then some more kind of in bins beneath that. But the bins don't pull out. I didn't have a whole lot of time. I already spent like an hour in there just looking through what I did. And being a big guy, my knees aren't what they are. And if I had gone over there earlier, I would have dug some more. But yeah, that whole haul, I paid about $30 US for. So, I think it came out to be like 40 Canadian. So, I didn't have the Canadian cash on me, so 30 was fine. And I'm not complaining at all. So, if this is going to be the last video, and it should be, before the holidays, before the new year, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Happy whatever the hell you may celebrate. Hope the season goes well for you. Hope you get all the wax you want, and hope the start to your new year starts on the right foot. Bye.